guys, it's Josh from Peace Out Books, and same here with the mid-year book freakout tag. I've done this now 2 years, so this is my 3rd year I've been doing this. I will link them down below if you want to see them. My style of filming has changed a lot since I started YouTube, so I was watching my 2016 one. I was on the floor filming on my phone, and my hair was so long, and then in my second one I just chopped my hair off, and I was talking about how long my hair was in the first video, so we've come a long way in 3 years. But I have this video, and it is all talking about the books I've read in the first half of 2018. It is about halfway through June, but I decided to do it now because what's going to change in 15 days? I mean, a lot could, but I don't think this is going to affect my choices for all the categories for the past 6 months. So I'll go ahead and get to the prompts. Number 1 is best book you've read in 2018 so far. And for me, I think I'm gonna have to go with Raised by Tilly Cole. I thought I read this last year. It has been a while since I read this book. It was near the beginning of the year, and it just blew my mind. I was not expecting to love it as much as I did. This was a pick what I read next for one of the months this year, and this is about a guy who was kind of kidnapped when he was younger and put into an underground fighting ring. So they like trained him and pumped him full of drugs, and his job was to kill. And there is like a breakout, and he breaks out, and the only thing he remembers from his past is a name that is the reason why he's in that facility of fighting, and so he goes after that person, and that person is a pretty violent mafia person who is dating like the princess of the mafia, which her dad's like one of the head people, and she hates being in a relationship with him, but she can't really get out of it, and she falls for this fighter guy. And it's so good, and I'm hoping to read the second book soon. I only read the first part of this. I really want the indie copy of Raised like so badly, but people are selling it for like $100. Just can't spend $100 on one book, so I'm stuck with what's published now, but I loved it. Number 2 is best sequel, and for this one I'm going with What He Always Knew by Candy Steiner. This is the second book in her duet, so I don't know if you consider it a sequel, but it is the second book of the series, and it's only 2 books. And what a lot of authors are doing is they're releasing one book, and then a month later they're releasing the next book, so they're like write and like delay the publication of the first book so they can publish them like right away with each other, because the first book almost always ends on a cliffhanger. This one did end on a cliffhanger. This is about a girl who is married and her husband keeps on pulling away, and her old childhood crush is back, and they have a super intense chemistry, so she doesn't know whether she wants to leave her husband for this guy or stay with her husband. The first book was advertised as super angsty, super amazing, super emotional. I didn't get that, and I was like, come on Candy, like you've been advertising this angst. I know you can write angst. She's my favorite angsty writer. And that delivered in the second book. It was just drove the whole story home. It was a book where it's a love triangle, and I did not even know I wanted her to pick. I was so for someone in the first book, and then this totally like flipped what I was thinking, and I didn't even know who I wanted her to pick. I was gonna be mad with either pick she was picking, but then I kind of was leaning towards someone at the end, but I was talking myself into being okay with it, and it was just like a roller coaster, and it was amazing. And this like completely changed the series for me, and I loved it. Number 3 is a new release you have not read yet, and for me, that is A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. This is I don't know if it's considered 3.5, 0.5, I don't know. It's like the bridging book between the original 3 from the A Court of Thorns and Roses trilogy and the new books that she's writing. This is really short, and I'm just not super excited for it because I didn't know what to expect from the story. I took the day off of work when A Court of Wings of Ruin came out and like read it the day it came out. I couldn't wait for it. I was counting down the days because I was so obsessed with A Court of Mist and Fury and Rhys and Feyre. But because that ended, that book, and I didn't love the third one as much as I love the second one, I wasn't like super hyped for the next book, and I've heard it's not as good as the other ones because there's no like real plot, kind of, and like you get a ton of different characters' perspectives. I heard it is pretty romantic though, so I don't know. We'll see how I like this, but I just have not jumped into reading it yet. Number 4 is the most anticipated read of 2018 that has not come out yet. For me, that is Elle Kennedy just dropped the news. I think it's called The Chase, which is the new Briar book. I'm pretty sure. I didn't even look into that. She said that it's coming out in August. So we have a new Elle Kennedy book. I think it's The Chase. And I think it's the new hockey book and the new spin-off series of the Off Campus series, which is one of my absolute favorite series ever. It's what made me fall in love with Elle Kennedy. She's one of my absolute favorite authors ever. And I am just super excited. And it's going to come out around my birthday because my birthday's August 1st. So happy birthday to me with a new Elle Kennedy book. I'm totally going to pre-order it because she is queen. And I need a good sports romance in my life right now. So I'm excited. Speaking of sports romance, the next category is your biggest disappointment, and for me that was Switch Hitter by Sarah Nay. I read How to Date a Douchebag, The Studying Hours, I think, which is the first one, and I really enjoyed it. It was really cute. It was a fun sports romance. And so she had Switch Hitter come out, which is a 0.5, so it's a novella for the Jock Rose series that she wrote, and it was about a twin, and she like took her twin's place to date this guy because her twin had 2 dates. And I hated it. I gave it, I think, a 2 or a 3 star. I think I gave it a 3 star. I was being nice, but the whole twin scenario was annoying because it was the fact where a lot of books have this where like the best friend is super bratty and annoying and like bosses the main character around, but like she loves her anyways and gets away with it. And that's what this was like. The twin was super bossy and annoying and like put her twin down, and the twin constantly, the main character, would like go out of her way to save her twin's like antics she gets into, and I'm like, this is really annoying. Like, I'm super close, I'm a twin, I'm super close with my sister, we respect each other, and they did not, and it was really annoying. And then they're like, oh, and no one can tell them apart, not even their own parents. And I was like, okay. I have a hard time believing that, especially when he started pointing out all the differences. I'm like, so if a boyfriend can tell the difference between the two, I'm pretty sure their parents can, because they raised them. But this just wasn't for me. I think the pacing was off too because it is a novella, and I find it really hard to like novellas because of the pacing. I think Filthy Gods by R. Scarlett was also in this category, was a novella. The pacing was just not developed enough, and it was trying to be something, and it just didn't make the mark. The next prompt is biggest surprise of the year so far, and that for me is Atheist, Who Kneel and Pray by Taryn Fisher. Taryn Fisher is a very unique writer. She writes very unique stories, and I never know if I'm going to like them or not. And this one's about an artist, and I usually hate those kinds of books because it's like they're very free-spirited and have no plans. They just do what they want. They make stupid decisions because of their emotions, and I normally hate books like that, but I was obsessed with this book. This girl is normally like the muse for guys, and she's used to that, and she travels from place to place because she never likes to stay at a place too long. I think she lands in like Washington or something. I don't remember where she stays, and this guy sees her who's a musician. He's instantly drawn to her, and they have a really annoying relationship, but I loved it. I don't know what it was about this book that a lot of other books with the same kind of premise have really turned me off. I love this, and I was really shocked. The next prompt is favorite new to me author, and so these two I read for the first time this year, and I want to devour everything they've read, and that is Jessica Hawkins and Rebecca Yarros. For this one, was really annoyed and kind of hated it and kind of loved it at the same time, but it made me really, really intrigued about Jessica Hawkins' writing and stories, and I really want to read her other series and finish this series because even though I really hated it and was super annoyed and like this is a book that you want to throw across the room, I need to read book 2 now because of that ending. So she knows what she's doing in her writing. And then Rebecca Yarros just wrote a really awesome sports romance, and it was traveling. They went through on a cruise, and I think they were going to like Europe or something. I don't remember where they went, but it was just so good. And I have 3 other books by her now because I met her at a Polycon, so I cannot wait to read more from these 2 authors. Next is your newest fictional crush, and I just did a video of my favorite book boyfriends. I'll link that down below too. And my newest fictional crush is Michael from The Kiss Quotient. Michael was just so freaking sweet and adorable, and I want it for myself. He is a male escort, but you know, he does it for a reason out of the goodness of his heart. So he is hired by Stella, who has autism, and she's just really socially awkward. She doesn't know social cues. She finds it really uncomfortable, and she is determined to finally land a boyfriend. So she's like, I need to hire someone to teach me how to be a good girlfriend, physically and emotionally. And so she hires Michael, and they end up falling in love, and Michael is so sweet with her. He's so adorable, and he's so close to his family, and I just love him. Next is a book that made you cry, and I've actually not cried in any book this year, so we're gonna skip this one. Then the next one is a book that made you happy, and I'm gonna still go with The Kiss Quotient by Helen Hoang. This just is adorable. So adorable, and I was just loving every second of it. My sister is currently reading this copy. I had an extra copy, and I forced it to my friend who was visiting me my friend from college came and visited, and we're talking books, and I took this off my shelf, and I threw it in her hands. I was like, you have to read this now. Everybody's talking about it. It's amazing. It's so cute, and it just makes me so happy. Next is the most beautiful books you've bought, and so for me, that's 2 of them. And they have the same cover model, which I realized because I was looking at the book on Instagram and they tagged the cover model, and I went to his Instagram because that's what you do. And I saw he was in another cover, and so this is for MC Romances. I'm obsessed with them. The first one is Jameson by Nicole James, and then the next one is Royal Savage by Victoria Ashley. This is the same cover model for them, and I'm normally not that big of a fan of guys covered in tattoos, but the design of these covers are just so gorgeous, and even though it's the same guy, they look completely different. The colors are gorgeous, and they really capture, this one's a tattoo romance and this is a motorcycle romance. They just really capture the book themselves and the intensity of him in this one. Like, I'm obsessed with these covers, and it is the same guy. Like, the tattoos are exactly the same. His face looks different because I think his hair is different styles, but these are gorgeous to me. And the last prompt is books that you have to read in the last remaining 6 months of the year. I have 5 in my hand right now, and these all came out before this year. Like, 4 of them came out way before this year. But the first one is Us by Serena Bowen and Elle Kennedy. This is the second book in the Him, I don't know if it's a duology because there's only 2 books, but this is an MM hockey romance, and I was obsessed with Jamie and Wes. Completely obsessed with them, and I love their spin-off series, the WAG series, which has one of their sisters is in the first book, and it's at their wedding, I believe, in the first book of the WAG series. And so I don't know what's gonna happen in book 2. I'm like, they were pretty well off in book 1, so I don't know what's gonna happen to them, that they warrant a new book, but I really need to read this. The next one is because I need to read more paranormal romances, and that is Lover Eternal by J.R. Ward. This is book 2 in the Black Dagger Brotherhood series. I am trying to collect them all, and I think I only have 2 more left to go in the whole series in paperback that's out, and I've only read book 1. And I thought book 1 was okay, but I've heard book 2 is one of the best, and I'm really excited. But all the guys have similar names. Like, this guy's name is Rage, and I feel like all of them have synonyms to Rage. Like, there's so many different variations of that name, so I forget who everyone is, but I've heard this one's the best, and I really want to get through this series, so I have to read this book this year. And the last 3 books are all in a series, but I really want to read this series by Maya Banks. I finally have the completed series. There is In Bed with a Highlander, Seduction of a Highlander, and Never Love a Highlander, and they're all Highland romances, and I've heard they're one of the best Highland romances ever. My friend Lacey from Lacey Book Lovers on Instagram loves them, and they're just really gorgeous books. So this could count for my beautiful books of 2018 too. I almost said 2017. I just love the colors and those covers, and they always have the plaid matching. Like, come on. And I just need to read them soon. And that is the mid-year book freakout tag. Let me know down below your favorite book of the year. I would absolutely love to hear what you have loved this year, and we will see where I'm at the end of 2018, if these books still stay in the top or not. We shall see. As always though, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day. Bye.